Now, here's the thing I hate, right? You're thirsty, I want to drink some tea, but then if the tea is too hot, I've burnt my tongue. Now my tongue gets all rigidy and the feeling's gone, and now I don't want to drink tea anymore. And I hate that feeling so much. But anyway, on to today's review. So if someone asked me to define what good vibes is, or to point them towards a piece of music that can help them get into that type of mood, the first group of people that I would mention would be NSG. And the reason why I say that is that over the past 3 to 4 years, these guys have been consistently hitting the mark and not missing a single point. These guys are a group of 6 young men who have had the ability to constantly deliver when they were called to do so. And in this situation, it's not really different. My first encounter with NSG came through when I went to a uni rave and the DJ put on Yo Darling. Immediately hearing J5 before the beat dropped already kind of signified that these guys have a backing of someone who is very talented, but also someone who I feel like understands and creates music that speaks through them. And so hearing Yo Darling in a party in every uni rave that I went to that year made me understand that these guys are definitely going to be continuously making bangers that are going to be hitting in the raves, that are going to be hitting in the clubs, that are going to be hitting in events. But more importantly, when it comes to seeing them in gigs, these guys are going to be the go-to people. And so with that, they've finally released their long-awaited mixtape / album. And this is another thing as well, because I've heard people say it's an album. I've heard people say it's a mixtape. I think the new definition of what mixtape, EP, LP, and albums mean now is kind of thrown out the window. Because it's an hour long, I think I'm just going to call it an album. So with the long-awaited album from NSG, its Roots is finally here, and I will be reviewing that for you guys today. Cue intro. Now, I've asked quite a few people what NSG means, because for some reason, I don't know why, but it was only until recently that I started questioning what NSG actually meant. And I had a group of people that told me it meant Never Stop Grinding, and I also had another group of people that told me it meant Nigeria / Ghana. But the ambiguity in what the acronym stands for, I feel like isn't the important part. I feel like the important part is to understand that these are a group of 6 men that have been consistently delivering for a very long time. And single after single after single, they've countlessly proved that this isn't just a fluke. They are not one-hit wonders. And these are guys that are going to be continuously coming through the scene in a multitude of ways. And another thing to note as well is that I can imagine that for them, there must at some point have been pressure for them to release a body of work. You know, after releasing these singles over the past 3 years, at some point, they must have been approached on a countless level to at least release a single body of work. But that pressure hasn't really shown through. And they've just consistently shown to us that whatever pressure might be going on from the fans or from the labels, we're still going to deliver and actually still going to give you what it is that you need to have a good vibe and to have a good time. Now, the first thing, when I looked at this album at face value, the one thing that really intrigued me was the fact that it was over an hour long. And that was something that I didn't necessarily expect, especially in the current climate of music. Albums and long extended LPs tend to be roughly 45 minutes long. And so to see that NSG have actually come through the woodworks and given us an hour plus worth of music already made me interested to see what other rosters of songs that they have in their arsenal that they're willing to show and actually portray to us. And so when I thought about it even deeper, they've released Trust Issues, they've released Options, they've released OT Bop, they've released Ourselves, and they've also released Porsche. And so that's 5 songs already. So and I definitely knew already from the back that all of those singles were going to be on the album. So that leaves us with maybe roughly around 10 to 15 other songs that they could show us that we have not heard yet. And so already when I saw that we had 18 tracks worth of songs, 13 of which we probably haven't heard before, I was instantly intrigued and felt like this was going to be an album that I was going to thoroughly enjoy. And that's what I love so much about NSG, is the fact that, You know, these are a bunch of guys that have such great chemistry. They have such a great connection between each other. It shines through their music. And that coupled with the productions, especially their partnerships with J5 and 4Play, is so distinct to the point that you can literally hear the first 3 seconds of their song in a rave, and instantly it's either getting a reload or everyone is chanting the lyrics before the beat has even dropped. So you can tell that these guys are on the path of doing something great and amazing when these are character traits that they've already shown on numerous levels. And so for me, one thing that really stood out when I was listening to this album was the production. You know, 4Play, in my opinion, deserves the MVP award solely on this album because the songs that he produced here were just absolutely amazing. Alongside with J5, I.O., Young Felix, legendary beats, but also a cheeky feature from Take a Day Trip that I never really expected to hear on the album. And so already I could tell that NSG are already looking at other producers and also kind of looking to broaden their taste a little bit by having people such as Take a Day Trip feature on their album, you know. And it makes sense because Take a Day Trip also did that song with Santi, Obongjaya and Octavian on Poison. And so through their production, you can hear that they were going to be a good fit for NSG already. And so I find myself coming back to this album over and over and over again, listening to particular songs, you know, listening to MCM, listening to Lupita, listening to Drunk Guitar, listening to Grandad, because they have such distinctive productions and such distinctive lyrics that are so catchy and that are so easy to chant to. You're instantly hooked and instantly replaying this album again and again and again and again. And I can also appreciate as well that as this is their first full-length LP, that they didn't really have many features on it as well. It was only Tion Wayne and Chip that pretty much took most of the features. And obviously Tion Wayne was already on Options, so we already knew what we were going to expect. So having Chip there was a very good addition to the album, but it didn't really take away from the fact that these guys are already wanting to showcase, cool, this is what we can do, this is what we have. And that's the benefit you have when it comes to having a group of 6 people. You each contribute and each add to many different things that you don't necessarily need a feature that much. You know, all of them have gone hard and all of them have done effortlessly well to really take time into this album and really think about particular lyrics or particular tunes that will definitely captivate people that listen to it. And that's what I really like very much about this album, because I find myself going to it time and time and time again. And for me, it was just such an enjoyable thing to just experience. And I also appreciate about the album is the fact that there's a broad range of songs where if you just want to have fun in the car, you've got Political Badness. If you're looking for the more Afrocentric rave-hitting tunes, you've got Drunk Guitar, you've got Grandad, you've also got Lupita. And then if you're looking for the tunes for the slow wine, when the dance is done, when the rave's ended, when it's the last song of the night, tunes like Georgia fit that mood pretty well. And so you can tell that NSG has already thought about the different types of songs that they kind of want to plug themselves into. And that's been a really standout thing for me when I listen to this album, and something that I've thoroughly enjoyed as well. It really seems to me that these guys are starting to mature and start to think a lot more, especially with having such a full-length album such as this. They're trying to really start to think about more in ways in which they can actually start producing more, but delivering more at the same time. And so I'll be very interested to see, once they've done the tours, once they've done, you know, the performances and the raves and all of those type of stuff, I'd be interested to see what more that they would be thinking about or looking to actually contribute after this. And I can also appreciate the attempts in which they've taken in adding very good sampling choices to the album, such as Eugene Wilde's Gotta Get You Home Tonight on the song Lupita, but also one of the most famous cartoon show jingles, Arthur, on Political Badness. And it made me understand that these guys can really take a sample and really make it into anything that they want it to be. And that's a very hard skill to do, because some samples, especially samples as good as Eugene Wilde's, or even a cartoon like Arthur, isn't something that you can just easily rip or easily sample and make it into a very catchy and interesting song, as well as NSG have done. And that's massive credit to people like 4Play and J5. I guess the only criticism I have towards the album mainly just stems from the fact that because you have such a large track list of 18 songs and they're pretty much total till about an hour, more than an hour, there is a possibility that there are going to be one or two songs that kind of fall through the cracks and can be a bit missable or can be a bit forgettable. And I feel like I only found that with about 2 of the songs on the album. But definitely that's just a natural general criticism that you can sort of say towards any full-length album that has as many track lists as 18. There are definitely going to be 1 or 2 songs that either sound familiar or 1 or 2 songs that can be a bit forgettable. And that's pretty much what I found when listening to the album. The large majority of it was very good. I just found that there were sort of 1 or 2 songs that kind of fell through the cracks for me. And so that's something that's going to be a natural criticism when reviewing albums or when actually listening to a full-length album such as that. Overall, you can tell that they really do try to make each and every song sound different, and that they really try to think about, you know, if there's going to be this much of a track list, how can 6 of us create different songs coupled with the partnerships that we have different and allow them to also be bangers that people can enjoy very much so. And so my personal favorite tracks for me was MCM. I loved Drunk Guitar so much, and I think Legendary Beats is such an amazing producer because he just adds another level of spice to his production. I don't really need to mention his track list because if you just go back and look at the songs that he's produced, you can already tell that this guy is a seasoned veteran in what he does. So I love Drunk Guitar. That's probably my favorite song out in the album. Grandad was another favorite song of mine, and also MCM and Tinder. So, and Lupita, of course. But overall, I would definitely say that this is a project that I would be coming back to frequently. And it's definitely an album that I've constantly been putting on repeat from time to time to time. If I'm in a sort of mid mood, I'm definitely going to put the album on. And there's not many times where I will sort of play an album top to bottom. Usually there would be 1 or 2 songs that I'll probably play or pick out or put into my playlist. But with this one, I've definitely found that I've literally gone to roots, tapped on Political Badness, and just let the whole album run for me. And so I thoroughly enjoyed this album, and I thoroughly enjoyed the experience I had listening to it because I found myself dancing in the kitchen more often than none. So NSG, you guys have done a very good job at producing a well cohesive and well put together project, as it being your first major full length LP. And so I urge, and I think everyone should go listen to it. I'm not really going to give it a number. I don't think I probably will be giving numbers or ratings to my albums, but I will urge everyone to listen to it. If you are someone that loves Afro beats, you love Afro swing, and you love that type of production, I urge everyone to go listen to it because it is a very well put together and a well done album. And so with that, that's today's review. My name's Archie. As always, you already know what to do. If you like the content, like, subscribe, leave a comment, share. It helps me sort of grow. I think we're like at 71 subscribers. This is like a mad small channel, like in the corner of YouTube that we've just inhabited. So share this with a bunch of other people. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.